Adaku and Uche lived in a village far away. They were not indigents of that village. They suddenly appeared there and made it their home. This couple lived 14 years without any children, and the villagers were concerned. They lived very differently from others. For instance, once it's 6 p.m., they locked their doors and never came out again until the next day. People called them the village weirdos, but they didn't care. Adaku had been bothered about their childlessness and would often take fruits and some sweets to kids anytime she saw them playing. But the villagers warned their children not to accept anything from the village weirdos. One day, Adaku had a quarrel with a woman in the village square, and the woman humiliated her, beat her up and rubbed her childlessness in her face. Adaku went home and cried bitterly, and her husband vowed to provide them with a child by all means. That night, they made a plan. Her husband told her to openly start showing symptoms of pregnancy in 1 week, and then she would start putting a bowl on her stomach and tie her wrapper on it or wear her clothes on it to look like pregnancy. Adaku did not know what her husband had in mind, but she was too desperate to ask any questions. Her husband visited a neighboring village, stayed for 3 days and came back. This time he was 100% sure they would have a child. Adaku kept wearing various sizes of bowls on her stomach, and the villagers began noticing and congratulating her. Many people were happy for her, whereas some still thought it was sudden and strange. 9 months on the dot, her husband traveled again and came back with a little baby boy. Adaku was very excited. She shed tears of joy, but she did not ask her husband how he magically got a little baby. Adaku and her husband kept to themselves after the baby's arrival. Rumors started flying around about a fire outbreak in the neighboring village that claimed the lives of a father and a twin baby. Uche became worried because he knew what he did. He started making arrangements for them to leave that village to another place, but Adaku refused. She wanted this place to be their home and the place their child would be raised. Then Uche said to her, "Remember when I traveled for 3 days? I traveled to the neighboring village and spent 3 days in search of a pregnant woman whose child I would bring to you. I found this woman pregnant with twins, and I decided she'd be the one whose baby I would take. She won't miss it much. I have been monitoring her ever since. 2 days after she gave birth, I went to their house and set a small space on fire. I just wanted to scare them and take one baby. The woman's husband ran with one of the twins, but hit his leg on a stone and fell. The baby in his hand fell into the fire. He died in the fire while trying to save the baby. I just took this train and ran. Please, we must leave at once." Adaku heard all this. She felt bad, but all that mattered to her was the baby in her arms. People started talking about how Adaku was feeding her baby with goat milk and wondered why. 4 months later, Adaku took her baby to the market, and a woman approached her to play with the baby. The woman told Adaku that her baby looked like a child she had lost. Adaku sympathized with the woman and continued shopping. That evening, some guards from the palace came to take Adaku and Uche to the village head. The woman who had played with their child had reported that Adaku's baby belonged to her. They all gathered at the village square. The village head began questioning Adaku and the other woman. The woman said her child had a birthmark and it's been in their family for generations. Adaku, on the other hand, claimed her child had no birthmark. She was weeping and everyone almost felt sorry for her. The other woman explained that after the fire accident, the corpses of her husband and one of the babies was found. The other baby was never found. People started crossing some T's and dotting some I's and realized Adaku may not have given birth to that baby. The woman stated that the baby had a birthmark on the center of his head. Every child born into her husband's family had the mark, so the baby's hair was parted and the birthmark was found. Everyone began screaming. Adaku fell on her knees and began to confess. She told them everything her husband did and begged for forgiveness. The story brought tears to the eyes of all who heard how wicked this husband and wife were. The village ruler gave a decree and Adaku was banished from the village, whereas her husband was stoned to death in accordance to the village law. Nothing should drive you to the extent of taking anybody's life. or take what does not belong to you. Stolen joy never lasts. We should learn to work hard and wait our turns for the good things of life. Please like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories. Story Safari.